Now, if you remember how we formed groups, just send a yes or no in the chat right now.
Good afternoon, guys. My name is Tony D. Myers, and today I'll be discussing the 5 stages of group development as it relates to our group. The first stage, polite efforts to get acquainted. When the group was formed, our members gathered around in a civil manner and got to know each other, exchanged names, numbers, thoughts, and ideas about what we should do for the group. We did not fully expose our true personalities and held back our true perceptions of each other because we had just become acquainted. So, like when you just meet a group of people and you're not really sure about them yet, so you're kind of shy and get to feel everybody out before you really show the true you. That we introduced ourselves and exchanged contact numbers so we could communicate about the group via WhatsApp. The second stage, conflict regarding how the group should function. So we all know by now that conflict is necessary, whether good or bad. In our group, we certainly had differences in opinions as far as how the group should operate. The sources of this conflict included what day and time we would have group meetings. This was because of our conflicting schedules and different timetables, of course, and also differences in opinions on what type of fundraiser to do and where the proceeds should have been donated to. Okay, so the third stage is consensus about group procedures. So after a while, everyone came to agreement on the day and time we would meet, which everyone followed and was present for. We also decided on the type of group we were going to be, which is a service club, the name of our group, our motto and mission statement, the type of fundraiser we would carry out, and the organization which we would donate the proceeds to. We also came to an agreement on the part each member would play and when our fundraiser would take place. In the end, we agreed that our name would be Psych-AID, a group that would raise funds and sponsor 2 individuals to mental help who could not afford therapy sessions. Okay, so the fourth stage is cooperative efforts to achieve common goals. For our group, this meant working together in order to achieve set goals by assigning roles and responsibilities. Different team members were assigned or took up different positions such as scribe, treasurer, communicator, and sponsorship organizer. This helped to have order and better productivity. Cooperative efforts were especially demonstrative at the fundraiser, where our group members worked together at our bake sale to sell and fundraise in order to meet our goal. Some took on the role of sharing the pastries, while others collected the money, handed out pamphlets, or helped to keep the area clean. Okay, so now we have the fifth and final stage, which is withdrawal from one another and the group as a whole. This stage has yet to happen in our group. I will now pass it on to Francine, who will discuss the phases of group membership, starting with the investigation stage.
Hi guys, it's Francine, and I'm going to start us off by talking about the first phase of group membership, which is investigation phase. As you can see, this is where recruitment takes place and where the group members decide or determine in their head kind of who they would want in their group. In the case of our group or our class, the process of recruitment was more mandatory rather than an unconscious decision. From the class of 22, 4 students were selected as temporary group leaders. I'm sure you guys remember this process. Each leader had to determine criteria that they would want in their group and express it to the class. So basically, we had to think of criteria or like specific characteristics that we would like to see in our individual groups. And then when we express those, people decide if they're going to join our group or express if they have those characteristics. This would be considered our entry criterion. In our group, I was a temporary leader, and my entry criterion was being organized, creative, and flexible. Now, this clip is just a little snippet of what it was like expressing my entry criterion when I was recruiting persons for my group. Other members of the class would then volunteer themselves if they possessed the particular characteristic that a temporary leader was looking for. During this phase, reconnaissance takes place simultaneously with recruitment. And from that process, that's where they would decide if they're going to join our group, like join my group, or join Joel's group, or join Hugh's group. Remember? In our case, the 4 temporary leaders would be considered recruitment specialists. Now we're going to move on to the next phase. Raheem?
Afternoon everyone, this is Raheem, and I'll be talking about the socialization phase. So during this phase, the group attempts to change the individual so that he or she contributes more to the attainment of group goals. So group members are provided with the knowledge and ability, motivation that they need to become full group members. Right? Also during this phase, the group can change the individual, and this is known as assimilation, and even individual can change the group, which is known as accommodation. For our group in particular, it could be said that we achieved both, because for assimilation we had 2 late group members, 2 persons were added late to the group A, and they were immediately provided with the knowledge and all of the information about what the group was going to do or what the group is about, goals and objectives and so forth. So yeah, they were immediately provided with all of the information so that they could become full group members, right? For accommodation now, this is where the individual can change the group. This could be seen when Mishka asks us to pray before and after meetings. So she kind of enforce her own way on the group, right? So yeah, could be said that we achieve both assimilation and accommodation. Britannia will be talking about maintenance now.
Alright, so good afternoon everyone. I'm Britannia and I'll be looking at the maintenance stage. So this is where the group and the individual expresses their commitment to each other and they engage in role negotiations. So with role negotiation, the group tries to convince an individual to take up a particular role by offering them some form of incentive or some reward upon the completion of these roles. However, the individual also has the opportunity to choose a role that they want to play, seeing that they are capable of successfully accomplishing these roles. So further commitment of one to another depends on how satisfying the individual finds these roles or how satisfied the group is with the behavior of the individual or of the work that the individual has done. So for us, we weren't necessarily told what we were supposed to do, but rather we chose what we wanted to do based on what was available and what we thought was the best fit for us and what we thought we could be successful in completing. So with the successful completion of the maintenance stage, we now move on to resocialization, and Shanice will provide us with further information on this stage.
My name is Shanice Epangs, and today I will be discussing the 4th stage of group socialization called resocialization. Now, resocialization and socialization have similarities, of course, as it relates to providing knowledge, ability, and motivation to group members as they need to, regroup. Now, this involves aiding the marginal members' ability to reshift focus onto the group given the failure to meet their group expectations. As a group has had high expectations rather than low standards for the members. As the article continues, it described a term called assimilation, which referred to the assumption that the group members' needs are controllable and that group members can deem to influence or convince the members to be more reliable in the group. In fact, if members has unattractive options outside of the group, then the group members are more likely to conform to his or her original group. I found this article while doing research on resocialization, and I stumbled upon this author called Crossman. In 2019, she defined resocialization very simply. She proposed that it is a process that subjects an individual to new values, attitudes, and skills defined as adequate according to the norms of a particular institution, and the person must change to function adequately to those according norms. Moreover, let's look at the pandemic today. Because of this coronavirus, aka COVID-19, our group went on a standstill for over a month. So our group norms or recommitments were on pause because of societal and individual matters. As we seem to regroup in order to complete assignments, we are currently in the relearning and refocusing stage to continue on the path of our norms and our set goals. Now, group members, inclusive of myself, had to recommit ourselves to our rising goals or rising roles as the semester progresses. And now I'll hand over to Mishka as she expounds on the 5th group socialization phase. Thank you.
Greetings, everyone. I pray that we're all doing well in this season. Right, so for the remembrance phase, this phase our group has not yet experienced. Remembrance take into consideration an ex-member, and that is someone who was once recruited and socialized and identified as a member of a group, but has been removed or has resigned membership. In addition, since our team was formed only to achieve set goals which will last for a specific time period, this group is scheduled for adjournment. Remembrance will, however, affect us individually and as a group. How will it affect us individually? Well, consider the question, how did the group goals and culture affect us individually? See, individuals will evaluate their experience in this group, how the individual needs were satisfied, and this will affect a person's reaction to current and future groups. For example, in our group, we were treated with respect to each other's thoughts concerning matters we discuss. There is no marginalization amongst each other in the group, and so members of this group will expect that when they join another group of such nature. And as it relates to, how it will affect us, affect us as a group. All right, it is imagined that group members, based on their assessment of individuals' commitment to the group, would likely to choose an ex-member of the group again for another project they may have the choice to do together. That is, if that individual commitment was raised to our acceptance criteria and that person maintained commitment and discipline for the group and its goals. However, if an ex-member commitment and contribution fell to our divergent criteria, such as not making contribution to the group assignments, tardiness, and frequent absence, other group members will be least likely to choose that ex-member as a member for another group project. The group Psych-AID may become history, and ex-members will be of little importance to the name of the group, since our goals would have been achieved and the group would have been adjourned. In addition, for the ex-members, Psych-AID will become less important and gradually incorporated into our memory. So, and that's what the psych phase, that's how the remembrance phase applies to us as Psych-AID, or would have applied to us as Psych-AID group.